Hi, precious heart. Thank you for joining us for our weekly vlog. During this confusing and often challenging time in Earth's ascension process, the company of heaven is sending forth a clarion call to all who have ears to hear. As this clarion call reverberates through the ethers, awakening humanity's I Am presences are being alerted and inspired to awaken within our heart flames the inner knowing that we have been preparing for lifetimes to be a peace-commanding presence during the unprecedented purging the earth is experiencing at this time. This inner knowing will remind each of us that we already have within the divinity of our heart flame everything we need in order to be a peace-commanding presence. This knowing will also bring to the surface of our conscious mind the realization that when we respond to the adversity manifesting on earth as a peace-commanding presence, we can effectively dissipate the pain involved in the things manifesting around us. Without remembering this profound truth, it is very easy to look at the outer world appearances and come to the erroneous conclusion that humanity and planet Earth are spiraling into an abyss of negativity. As the residue of the old Earth is pushed to the surface to be transmuted back into light, outer appearances create the illusion that everything that can go wrong is going wrong. We are witnessing catastrophic hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, floods, droughts, melting glaciers, wars, mass shootings, and an increase of every other painful thing occurring on this planet. It is very easy to get pulled into the fear and anxiety being expressed by the masses. Unfortunately, that does not help at all. In fact, it is the worst thing that we can do. Remember, our thoughts and feelings are creative. Wherever our attention is, there we are. Whatever we are thinking and feeling, we are empowering. In Vlog 10, the company of heaven revealed to us just how powerful our thoughts, words, feelings, and actions are, and how they are co-creating our everyday life experiences, whether we are aware of it or not. When we focus on the horror of what is happening around the world and empower those terrible things with our fear and anxiety, we greatly complicate the problem. There is a philosophical statement that affirms, when we grieve with someone, we water their garden of sorrow. This does not mean that we should put our head in the sands and pretend that the things we are observing and the experiences that we are witnessing are not happening. And it certainly does not mean that we do not care or have compassion for the people experiencing painful things and difficult situations. It simply means that when we become overwhelmed with another person's misery and wallow in their pain with them, we actually amplify their suffering. I know that is the very last thing a caring person wants to do, but we often do it unintentionally. When we emotionally descend into another person's pain and misery, we become part of the problem instead of part of the solution. We cannot lift or comfort someone when we ourselves are writhing in agony or overwhelmed with grief. Today, the company of heaven wants us to remember how we can respond to the negative things occurring on earth in a way that will heal rather than exacerbate humanity's pain and suffering. First of all, we do need to be aware of the things that are happening around the world. Every day we need to pay attention and we need to be informed about the negative things being pushed to the surface to be healed and transmuted back into light. But instead of having the reflex response of emotionally connecting with the shock and horror of what is happening, we need to deliberately stay centered in our heart flame. Then we can ask our I Am Presence to help us detach from the pain so that we can be a peace-commanding presence, even in the face of the most horrific adversity. By affirming, I am my I Am Presence, and I am one with the I Am Presence of all humanity, we instantly alert the I Am Presence of every person on earth to stand in readiness to receive the light of God being invoked on their behalf. Once we align with the I Am Presence of every person in that way, we can greatly dissipate the suffering by affirming, I am a peace-commanding presence, and I ask the entire company of heaven and the I Am Presence of every person involved with this event to envelop him or her in an invincible force field of God's protection and divine comfort. In order to be a peace-commanding presence, we do not need to fully comprehend why something negative is happening, or specifically understand what is surfacing to be healed in a particular event. This is a very complex time, and literally lifetimes worth of humanity's multifaceted creations from the old earth are surfacing on a daily basis to be healed and transmuted back into light. To be a peace-commanding presence, all we need to remember is that nothing is happening by accident. As difficult as it is for us to reconcile this truth with our finite minds, the company of heaven has told us that no one is a victim. No matter what we are experiencing, on a higher level of consciousness, we have agreed to go through that particular ordeal in order to assist with the process of transmuting into light our own and humanity's miscreations from the old earth. Pain and suffering of any kind are the result of the human miscreations associated with the fallen consciousness of our human egos. These miscreations must be transmuted back into light before we can victoriously complete our ascension into the fifth dimensional frequencies of the new earth. This inner knowing will help us to see the bigger picture and to realize that even the most horrific event can result in moving humanity and the earth forward in the light. The most positive things that occur when humanity becomes aware of any kind of tragedy is that people everywhere open their hearts and instantly feel compassion for the people involved in that negative event. This response allows even the most asleep people to experience the oneness of all life in profound ways. Amazingly, in the midst of the shock and horror, people forget their differences and begin reaching out to one another in the most loving and helpful ways. Precious heart, this week, practice being the peace-commanding presence you have been preparing to be for lifetimes. Next week, the company of heaven will help us remember how we can help humanity to take advantage of their newly opened hearts and the compassion they are feeling toward their sisters and brothers in the family of humanity. God bless you, and I look forward to being with you next week.